All right, let's see a quick demo of Vorlon, and we'll also focus on the Shiny Hunters. But I guess before I'll start, I do want for the audience that haven't seen Vorlon yet to kind of like cover how does Vorlon works and what's our approach. Starting from the discovery, basically what Vorlon does is observing application. If you follow my mouse here, you can see that in our demo environment, we're observing 8 applications. This is the starting point for Vorlon in order to start a continuously monitoring and behavioral detection. Basically, just using a read-only access token to the desired application, you configure Vorlon, and from that moment, Vorlon will start to learn all the relationship, users, applications, discover all the third-party applications that are connected to your SaaS application from a data movement perspective, identity and authorization. You can see here in the discovery page that basically once we observe these 8 applications, Vorlon discovered and detected 51 applications. Vorlon can detect over thousands of different applications, including AI tools. If you'll hover with the mouse here on the AI, you can see that specifically that will give you a better understanding of all the different AI tools and agents that are accessing your data and all the data movement that comes with that. Now, in related to the Shiny Hunters breach, I will say that Vorlon can integrate with all your existing security tools that within your stack, essentially to trigger insight and high critical alert. So for organizations that already have security processes in place, essentially the Shiny Hunters should be triggered in their SOC dashboard, SIEM, or any other tool that they usually consume high critical alert. But let's focus on the Vorlon interface for today. So essentially, if we're looking at the dashboard, and if I'm an analyst, what I can see immediately is that there was a spike here in June 25. Essentially, this is because a new OAuth application was created in our environment. We can see here that this has a high risk. The name of the app. OAuth app is Data Loader. So if I want to learn more, I'll just click on that and go through the timeline. Before talking specifically about this attack vector and how it was handled, I will say that one of the value that Vorlon brings is the ability to reduce your effort to understand the full picture very, very quickly. Think about that. When your vendor basically is being breached, there is a time to identify that you're relying on the vendor to notify you. Having an environment and a solution like Vorlon that continuously monitoring all your connection will basically make you proactive, will allow you to understand things even ahead of your vendor, and you will not need to be rely on them to notify you. Now, more specifically about the effort, I will say that understanding all of that, everything that you're going to see now, is a high effort. What do I mean by that? Internally, you will need to reach out to the business application owner, get access to the logs or any information, piece of information that will allow you to do a better investigation, go through hundreds of raw logs, including additional application to understand if this breach has evolved, like in the scenario of Shiny Hunters. Going back to the demo here, you can see a clear timeline. We can see here that on June 19, there was an identity that was created and that was first seen in Vorlon. Vorlon automatically triggered an alert here, mainly because it identified that as a new OAuth app with full permission. So this is something that the security team should be alerted on. Now, as a typical attack, the attackers didn't attack immediately. They sat quietly and waited for their time. And you can see here across the timeline that 2 months after, basically the attacker woke up and started to pull some information. Vorlon correlated it with the previous alert and basically notify you that there was some communication from a new unknown source IP. If you click here, you'll get a full picture. I will say before drilling down into this specific alert that Vorlon also allow you to take action immediately. It will correlate all the information, will give you a very, very specific steps that can either be delegated to the business application owner or being run automatically, assuming that you created the right role and you trust Vorlon to take actions for you. In addition to that, we're correlating all the information, stitching it in a way that will allow you to do a good investigation. You can see here the owner that was probably phished and his identity was impersonate in order to create this OAuth application. You will see the full permission. You will see all the identities relationship, but essentially all goes back to the different alert that we create. If you click here, you can see that the two different alerts that are associated with Shiny Hunters. If you click on the recent activity, you can see that essentially there was some communication coming from the Netherlands in Europe. Vorlon will enrich that for you. And this is the interesting part here. You can see that based on different threat intel databases, this IP is associated with the threat. It actually is an anonymous one, and it was also classified coming from a Tor exit, which also give you more indication that that communication was intended to be masked. Our focus on data movement will allow you to very quickly understand what type of data you shared with the attacker. We're also giving you the ability to see if it was connected to other data flows or other application. But essentially, there are two ways that you can respond here. Either delegate that via an IT ticket to the business application owner, or essentially take an action and revoke this specific application token from the system immediately. Or again, if you have the right role at Vorlon that will execute automatic actions for you, you can also do it from here. Hopefully that helped you to understand how we approach your overall SaaS ecosystem and AI, and more specifically with the Shiny Hunters, how Vorlon can help you to respond to these type of breaches very quickly.